Thanks everyone for taking the time to join us today. I'm Sean Heaton, Sean Connors, and Hayley Mueller.
We wanted to kick off and kind of describe what we do as the industrial team here in Portland. You know, oftentimes you say industrial and people don't quite understand what you're referring to. If you're a business owner and you run a manufacturing company, a distribution company, a high-tech company, the list goes on and on. We are the largest exclusive occupier advisor in the country, and we are the only exclusive occupier advisor here in Portland. When you consider commercial real estate, you usually think of an investor. That would be a landlord, and we do not represent landlords, we do not represent developers, as there is an inherent conflict of interest between that party and the party leasing the building. If you are a company who has recently purchased a building and you don't quite have the expertise behind operating that building while you're in it, that's another area that we cover. Again, focusing just on the companies and occupiers in this space.
You know, distribution companies, manufacturing companies, high-tech manufacturing companies, food and beverage, anything that falls under that category, and that's especially big in Portland. The manufacturing industry is growing at a rate 1.5% higher than the national average. So that's a big industry here in Portland. We want to represent those types of occupiers. We just helped one of our clients, Performance Systems Integration.
Yeah.
They just took over a new space at the beginning of the year in Tigard, and they had a little bit extra warehouse space that they didn't need. In the matter of about like 2 weeks, we got to terms. We had about 4 offers in 3,000 feet, 50,000 square feet. The market is so hot that, you know, I could see getting to terms in 2 weeks even, you know, at any size.
That particular property was half office, half warehouse. An industrial building can take, you know, be lots of different things.
We have 52 offices around the country, and we have another 1,000 affiliate offices internationally. And you know, some of our top clients tend to be portfolio clients who have a number of locations. It could be 50, 100, 1,000. And the services that go behind that type of portfolio work is numerous. It's, you know, the obvious transaction, but it also goes to facility management and project management, portfolio solutions, incentives.
You know, a couple of those types of clients are Pepsi, Frito-Lay, Annixter on the larger scale, and then on a you know, fewer location scale, it's Mutual Materials. It could be a Lakeside Lumber. So these are some, you know, of the clients that we have that cover that gamut.
To cover what's happened over the course of 2021 and the beginning of this year, we pulled together some market statistics to review, and you know, a couple key points would be the fact that vacancy is now down to 3.5%, and that's pretty significant. I mean, in our experience,
but that's just the overall. I mean, if you dive into certain submarkets, if you carve off certain types of warehouse properties, I mean, Hayley, this is what you've seen, we've all seen in this. If somebody's looking for 50,000 square feet, hard to find.
Especially if you're wanting to locate near, you know, a lot of distribution hubs, I-5, anywhere that would make sense for a company that does a lot of distribution, that number is a lot lower.
Yeah. And recognizing that really stable market conditions tend to have vacancies in the range of, you know, 7 to 9%. The 3.5% number is quite low. And what happens when you get that tight market? You start to see rents increase. And for example, since over a year, since Q1 21, rents have increased 5.5%. And since Q1 2017, if we're going back 5 years, they've increased nearly 30%. And that's a pretty phenomenal number. If you're a tenant who signed a lease in 2017 and you've had 3% escalations over that period of time, let's say a fixed number of 12%, you are looking to nearly triple the rent cost.
And that's the average. I mean, again, if you get into new construction, if you look what's happened just in the last 18 months, the rates have gone up well above 5 or 6%.
Another data point is that there is almost 4.9 million square feet under construction in the market right now, which
sounds like a lot.
The largest at any given time, and does sound like a lot. However, point one is that most of that is already leased up, right? And there's a lot of big box users such as Amazon or FedEx who's leasing that up. And two, those rates are astronomical compared to your existing building that you've been in for the last 5 or 6 years. So it's a very, very challenging market to be in as a tenant.
That 4.9 million square feet is really large scale space. It's 100,000, 200, 500,000 square foot space.
You know, we have very low vacancy. We have limited availability. Leasing activity is obviously up as a result, and triple
So what
net
does
rent.
leasing activity mean?
So we usually calculate leasing activity on a 4-quarter basis, and it's really just calculating the number of leases transactions signed over that period of time. So since Q1 of 21, there's been 13 million square feet of leases signed.
Yes.
So just look back at that construction data point that there's 4.8 million square feet under construction. Well, that's not even covering, a third of the leasing activity that we've seen over the last year. So that's a pretty phenomenal statistic. And then we also look at economic trends, which contribute to all of this primarily as industrial companies have to focus on that as well. So another key thing we like to just look at when we're looking at market statistics are notable leases, which is something that Hayley is very familiar with and has done a lot of research on. So is there 4 or 5 notable leases that you'd like to point out over the last 12 months?
Yeah, so one that really stands out to me is Amazon over, I think outside of Canby, it's 500,000 square feet that they just signed there. Some other ones include Outside Van, which is a client of ours, 140,000 square feet. FedEx just signed about 440,000 square feet up in Airport Way. Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of activity, obviously in Airport Way, East Columbia corridor, also Clackamas, Milwaukee area, very low vacancy there, but they are getting ready to build, 900,000 square feet Prologis is off of Southeast Jennifer. So that will increase the inventory about like 3.5%, which is not much, but any marginal increase is good at this point.
There's a lot of times where we can provide market information and a lot of expertise at a variety of levels and services. But at the end of the day, what does that all mean? Well, for the time being and for what's been happening, we've been really tasked with helping our clients navigate this really tight industrial market. It's not been easy. I mean, before our jobs were, let's find them the best deal, let's get them the best terms. And while that's always our goal, really that has shifted to how do we find the best space? Can we find a space? Is there a local solution, an existing solution for a space? And really counseling our clients to be as out in front of their needs and really taking account of what they need operationally as far out into the future as possible, because the market is just not giving the time to be able to wait 6 or 12 months, which is historically what the time frames have been. We need to be out in front 2 to 3 years, absolute minimum.
And this doesn't just relate to a transaction, this relates to the project management or construction management component of it. It relates to where is your labor, where are you receiving supplies, and fortunately Cresa has invested heavily over the last 10 years in many additional service lines to support the needs of these companies, right? I mean, you can review incentives in the geographic area, you can review the labor pool in the geographic area, take into account your business incentives.
But before you even get to that point, really the best thing that these companies can do is engage us.
Yeah.
Call you, call Hayley, call me, call Cresa, and have us be there to help them identify these questions and really not think about how do I renew my lease or how do I find my next space. That's the implementation end, it's not the planning end.
Right.
And we really need to emphasize the planning end of this. And sometimes that's not available. Sometimes a contract comes in or there's a situation that forces, I need to find something right now. And so, and they don't have time to do that.
Right.
And so the best thing, again, that they can do is call Cresa.